I know it's a little bit early, but I said, what's up, West? So y'all know me. I'm high energy. I go off the cuff. And so if you don't give me that energy back, I can't do. Hey, how you doing? We went to high school together. I'm sorry. Oh, no, you gotta give the shout out to Cold Springs. How you doing? See, this hashtag, all that good stuff. So what's up, Western New York? What's up? There it is. Thank you all for coming. I have a simple assignment. I just have to read off some of our elected officials that are here. If I mispronounce your name, forgive me. I just forgive me. But I am excited that all of you have decided to come out today and support the governor's budget because we have to get it done, right? So I tell you what. Hey, bro, how you doing? Time out. I ran the what was that? The Shamrock Run a few weeks ago, and I was getting tired. And I was ready to walk, but I saw my buddy on the sideline. He was like, "Hey, Commissioner, let's go." So I ran the rest of the way. So thank you, my friend, for doing that. So I tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. You can be moderate energy now, right? But when I bring up folks, you're gonna raise it up and rate. Okay. I know y'all ain't on the platform with y'all phones on, right? All right, let me get started before they fire me from doing this job. I love to have fun. So let's give it up for the Village of Fredonia Mayor Mike Ferguson. He's in the house. City of North Tonawanda Mayor Austin Tylak. Let's give it up for the Chair of the Erie County Legislature, Tim Myers. City of Tonawanda Mayor Bill Strasburg. We have City of Niagara Falls Mayor in the house. We have the City of Dunkirk Mayor in the house, Kate Dozak. We have the Town of Tonawanda Mayor Joe Imminger. Y'all kind of keep bringing on stage. Was that his phone ringing? Okay, I'm just making sure. We have the Pomfret Supervisor Dan Pacos with us here today. Evans Supervisor Ray Ashton is here with us today. We have my representative, Majority Leader Leah Houghton Pope with us here today. And she could sing too. She could sing. I didn't know. Not sing, but she could sing. Okay, do my job. You know I can't just do my job, right? And so do we have Buffalo Council member Mitch Nowakowski here with us today, I think? All right, hopefully we do. Oh, yeah, we got my sister from another mother here. Buffalo Council member Zanetta Everhart is in the house. A colleague I worked with for quite some time, Amherst Council member Mike Zucala is here with us. We have Tonawanda Council member Gina Santamaria with us here today. Tonawanda Council member Carl Zarek with us here today. We have the town clerk for Tonawanda is Clerk Greco is here with us today. We have a first-time elected official that walked the streets of ran real hard and excited about serving right here at Cheektowaga. We have Councilmember Tiffany Lewis is here with us. Staying at Cheektowaga, we have Stephen Nowiak is here with us as well. In the city of North Tonawanda, we have Alderman Will is with us. Schulemeister is here with us. Come on, clap. Staying in the city of Tonawanda, we have Alderwoman Hillary Rowe with us here today. Thank you. Thank you for the correction. We hung out. You let me sit in your chair too, right? So we're going to rewind. City of North Tonawanda, Alderwoman Hillary Rose with us as well. And we have City of Tonawanda Council member Chris Fisher. You don't get a chair, but whenever Chris has issues, he gives me a call. He says, "Hey, Hogs," he said I need some help with some civil service stuff, and so that's what we are. We are public servants, and we are happy to serve, and we are excited about this budget that the governor has put together. And so thank you all once again for rallying and coming out early in the morning to show your support and voice. Hey, Melissa, how you doing? Yeah, y'all thought I was going to stay on script. I can't. But, yo, let's give it up for Supervisor Brian Nowak.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the town of Cheektowaga, recently named by Travel and Leisure the best place to live in New York State. Wow. It's a tough time to be a public servant right now or an elected official for a lot of reasons. Social media has changed the landscape, doubts about elections, just democracy in general. And this morning we have some demonstrators outside that I'm sure a lot of you folks walked past. The beauty of this country, the beauty of this time to be alive is that that kind of activity is allowed. This kind of activity is allowed. And people can go to their town halls and their city councils and express their views and what they want to see. We have representative government. We have lively democracy here. Our job as elected officials is to make sure that continues. And it's wonderful to have the governor here today in my town to talk about her budget priorities. It's wonderful to have colleagues in government behind me sharing the space to hear about that vision and express their views on that, whether they agree with it or have some differences of opinion. And there's several major priorities that are going to be talked about today. You know, the folks outside mentioned CLCPA. For a lot of us, I'm sure we have a range of opinions on that. But whether we want to see that implemented quickly or we recognize the need to walk it back a little bit, I think everybody's got the same goal. And when you look at the energy grid and the need to make sure that the infrastructure can physically handle some of these changes and all these other questions that come up, there is a need to revisit that. And in that sense, I think the governor is on the right track to look at implementation and get us to a more practical, realistic way of working through CLCPA without abandoning him. Another thing that came up was related to seeker, and this is one that I'm strongly supportive of. You know, we have in the town of Cheektowaga, it's all right to clap, it's all right. You know, I come here with a professor approach, I guess, and not so much a rally approach. So Tim's going to help us out with that. But with seeker especially, the town of Cheektowaga is a town that is in the redevelopment stage. You know, we're not like some of these other municipalities where there's an ability to develop open land. And for us especially, to hear a governor, to hear an administration that is talking about streamlining the process on redevelopment and building and getting new housing and those kind of critical things without sacrificing local control, with keeping environmental needs in mind, that's something that I think everybody should support. You know, again, free country, lively democracy. We're going to have some disagreement in the minutia, but the goal and the drive there, I think, is wonderful, and I think that's something that we should all get on the same team to say, governor's on the right track with this. How do we get that done? And when it comes to, you know, something else that's going to be brought up has to do with auto insurance. And I can agree with the desire to take care of that and to keep auto insurance rates affordable. And some of the signs out there making New York more affordable. One of the things that were mentioned in the travel and leisure articles, the affordability of our town here in Cheektowaga. You know, housing affordability is a big issue all across the country, and I know our housing costs are going up in this town, but compared to other areas in New York State and especially across the country, town of Cheektowaga is fortunate to have affordable housing. But auto insurance rates are going up. It's a practical move to want to make sure that those are addressed. And so I started reading about it, and one of the articles I came across was entitled, Rising Healthcare Costs Are Driving Up Your Auto Insurance Rates. And this gets to 30 seconds. So long and short, you know, the auto insurance issue is partially driven by healthcare issues. You know, the governor's executive budget has a briefing book for healthcare, and in it they talk about leveraging New York's purchasing power to drive down costs and doing that for pharmaceuticals. We should also be thinking about doing that for basic health insurance too. The New York Health Act has been in the legislature for a number of years, And just for the folks behind me and the folks in the audience and the public, educate yourselves on that and really look into it. We have a healthcare system, financially speaking, that is a tapeworm on our economy. And we can have disagreements on how to deal with healthcare, but we really have to do something about that. I'm somebody that the governor's winning me over, and I think she's doing a lot of good things, and I'm glad she's here today to talk about those things.
Let's give it up for the professor. Thank you for that class, Professor. But just to emphasize, when he started talking about car insurance, I have 3 individuals at home that are all of driving age, and they all want vehicles. And I said, that's a mortgage payment that you are expecting me to do. So please pay attention and get involved. The next gentleman that we have coming to the platform is a good friend of mine. We worked in the Department of Erie County Personnel together, and we talked about vision and serving. And so it is my delight and my pleasure to bring up my guy. We used to park together, park right side by side. We have those conversations. But now he's a big shot, and he is in Amherst, they say? You're the supervisor of Amherst? Is that you? Is that be him? Let's give it up for Sean Lavin!
You know, the commissioner and I had matching Halloween costumes one year. That was great.
We did. Men in Black.
Men in Black. So what are we here to talk about? We're here to talk about affordability, not just in Western New York, but in New York. Frank, the governor's office, called me about a month ago, and he said, Sean, would you be willing to work with the governor to reform SEEKR, to create quicker rules that aren't from 1976, but from 2026? And I paused and I thought, yeah, Frank, I got 2 words, hell and yes. We need to get faster. We need to get quicker. As you add SEEKR rules into New York State redevelopment, you add legal costs, and who do those costs get passed down to? They get passed down to you and your neighbor and your son and daughter who want to stay here in Western New York but can't afford it. We need to up the supply of homes that we deliver to the people who need them the most. So when the governor asked me to fight for this reform, I said absolutely. The governor of New York State is not just talking about change, she is fighting for change, and I am happy to deliver that message. So I want to thank everybody for being in support of a great Western New York native and our current governor, and I'm going to work with her to fight for updated SEEKR reform here in New York State. Thank you.
Well, Supervisor Lavin, you have shown us how to be tight and to the point, which I know none of. But I do want to fact check. I'm not saying anything because I know we're here in Cheektowaga, but I do want to fact check what the supervisor said about Cheektowaga being #1 in New York State. And so I got people checking that now later in the program because I think Buffalo. I ain't starting no stuff, but I'm just saying. A friend of mine over there said, "Hey, what about Buffalo?" I said, "You're right. But yes, as Supervisor Lavin talked about, we have to be able to streamline approvals and make sure at the same time, right? So we're not talking about eliminating protection for individuals and communities, right? We're saying if the reviews have been done and they have been done properly, we don't need to re-review and re-review and re-review. So that's why that SEEKR reform is huge. And so, wow. So you guys thought that I was live? This next individual that is coming to the stage is all the way live. And now he no longer has like 5 jobs to do, right? And this isn't a just, but he is the bishop, right? The bishop.
I like it, Reverend.
The bishop, right? The bishop. My friend, my guy, Mr. Buffalo, New York himself. Come on, let's give it up for Bishop Darius Preacher! Yeah.
I promise I'm not going to preach or take an offering. So let me just see, is Western New York in the house? So listen, I know my job is to introduce our next speaker. And I've known our next speaker for a couple of decades. This isn't a new relationship. This is a relationship that has been tried and true. If I could describe her, it would not be as the governor so much. It would be, I think about this story that many of you may know in our tradition. There was this little guy who worked in the fields, and his name was David. And David goes, and he's just doing his job. He's just minding his business. He's working for his father. His father asked him to go out and take some food to his brothers. He goes out, and they're trying to fight this Goliath, his brothers. Everybody else is trying to fight this Goliath named David. And they're failing. They're trying, but they're failing. And David says, what does a man get, who can take down Goliath? And so David goes out, and I think you know the story. David goes out, Pastor Blue, and he goes out with 5 smooth stones. He didn't have to be rough. He didn't have to be raggedy. He was smooth. He didn't have to hurt anybody. He was smooth. And David goes out and he slays Goliath. He brings him down. And what I want you to notice about David, David was not a king, because we don't need kings and queens. We need servants. David was a servant, and David took Goliath out. A few decades ago, I met somebody who was not a king, who was not a queen. Maybe to her husband, he was all of that. But to our communities, she was one that worked in the trenches. From Hamburg Town Board to the deputy Erie County Clerk to becoming the Erie County Clerk, she was in the trenches. To U.S. Representative, she was in the trenches. To Lieutenant Governor, she was in the trenches. And you know what she did? She took a few smooth stones and she brought major gun reduction, violence, and illegal guns in the state of New York. What did she do with one of those stones? Record investments and reforms in K through 12 education. That's right. What did she do with one of those stones? Expanded child tax credit, affordable housing, job creation, minimum wage increase, and auto insurance, fighting for auto insurance reduction. And she's bringing Goliath down. And that's why her opponents are running like they are Goliath, because they know that if they deal with this David, if they deal with the 57th governor of the state of New York, that they are dealing with a David in her own right. Will you make some noise for the 57th and first female governor of the state of New York, Kathy Hochul?
BCT, that's what it means to me. ESBCT, take out TCT.
Buffalo is always fun to come back to, but we are in Cheektowaga right now. And I have to say a couple of things about Cheektowaga. It's the home of my husband. That was me as decades ago, sitting there in Town Park watching him play softball, hoping he'd pay attention to me. I finally caught his eye, and we went out for a couple of drinks. You know the bars in Cheektowaga. They're always fun. And we fell in love. Fell in love a long time ago, and we've rekindled that for now 42 years. And so I thank Cheektowaga for giving me the best part of my life, my husband, your former United States Attorney, William Hochul, and the father of my great children, who are also half Polish. The other half's Irish. So, but I want to acknowledge our leaders here today. Nothing like getting introduced by the bishop. The bishop, as Tim Hoag's extraordinary leader in his own right, but also the head of my Civil Service Commission. I want to thank him for all he does, and I continue to apologize to Mark Poloncarz for taking him away, but I think he'll forgive me at some point. But to Tim Hoag's, to the bishop, who's been my spiritual leader through some difficult times, whether it's a loss in office, whether it's mourning with families who had to endure the unthinkable, horrible tragedy a few years ago on the east side of Buffalo. So I always admire and appreciate his leadership in our community, but also in my life as well. So let's give another round of applause to Bishop Darius Pridgeon. Supervisor Sean Lavin, I was so proud to represent Amherst as a member of Congress as well and try to help you with a lot of your infrastructure projects. And it looks great. I've been to Amherst many times. I want to thank you for all you do for the people of Amherst and Western New York. Supervisor Brian Noack was absolutely right. Okay, Travel and Leisure magazine. Travel and Leisure, right? I saw. I'm like a walking chat GPT. Just ask me. I know this. Okay, just ask Kathy. Just ask Kathy. Travel and Leisure this week cited Cheektowaga as the best place to live in New York State. I think I even posted it. If I didn't, come on, team, we got to post that. They celebrated its hard-working blue-collar roots, something that I know all about. And I know what this community is all about, how tight it is, how people cherish it, the families, the places of worship that are so important in people's lives, and the foundation it gives so many to do great things. And I want to thank my friends here in Cheektowaga and all over Western New York who've joined us here today, and all the other many, many, many elected officials. But I'm here because I need you. I need your help. I'm in budget negotiations, but it's important enough for me to leave Albany, to come here to start my barnstorming across the state of New York back in my hometown. Because I knew. So here's the issue. I know what's happening out there. I know what it's like. I was a young mom, having to clip the coupons and go to BJ's and get the diapers on sale, and trying to worry about whether I could afford to pay for the gas, as gas prices were going up back in that era as well. I know what anxiety feels like when the bills start piling up. You're going to pay your property bills, which are coming soon. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Whether you have to figure out how to pay for your car insurance, which seems to be going up and up and up and up, even though you're a great driver, right, everybody? Okay. I know you are. Or utility bills. Like, what is happening? What is happening? Why are they going up so high? Seems unlimited. And housing. Like, everybody wants to at least get that first apartment they can afford. And we used to be known for affordability here in West New York, and we still are comparatively, but for families whose incomes might be stuck, they're not going up, it is still a big hit to get that first apartment. And the dream of home ownership. Do you know the average age now for a first-time home buyer? Not long ago was 30. It is now 40. That is an entire decade where dreams are deferred. And these are young people who worked hard, who played by the rules, did everything our generation did, but now it's so much harder for them. So I take that to heart. I internalize that. I'm a mom. I feel these things deeply when my children are hurting. And I feel strongly that I must be the voice for all of them to let them know that they have a fighter. And I've identified the areas where I need your voices, not just here in West New York, but all the way to Albany. And I'm going to...
That's right.
Now, let me tell you what the plans are, so you can be very specific, okay? Okay, I'll help you out here. Let's talk about housing first. We need more housing built. Full stop. Full stop. That way we get more supply, the prices go down. And why do I know this? There's a community called New Rochelle in Westchester County. Brand new mayor. And she has been unleashing thousands and thousands of more units. Their community is only 80,000 people. And they approved 11,000 housing units, and they have more to come. You know what happened in that community? I was just walking there last week. Rents are coming down. Not just going up anymore, not stabilizing. They're coming down. I think this community deserves that. Now, there's something called seeker law, right? It's important. It's important. It was passed about 50 years ago at a time when most of you weren't even born yet. I'm looking around this room, but I was. I know what it was like when Love Canal was the raging news, and we grew up in an area where we were concerned about people's safety and health because of contamination that was in the soil, harming people. It was horrible. National news. Superfund created because of Love Canal right in Western New York. Secondly, Lake Erie. Remember Lake Erie? Picture this, little kid going to the beach, stepping over dead fish that die because the chemicals from this plant right there, the Bethlehem Steel plant, were being dumped in every single night. It looked like molten lava. Every night they discharge us into the water. We didn't know any better. We were swimming in this. And the skies were orange. The smoke was billowing out. Sometimes you couldn't go up. Remember the Father Baker Bridge? Anybody remember this? You turn on your windshield wiper because the smoke was so thick. That's the world I grew up in. So I don't know if I'm not an environmentalist, dead set on protecting our environment, then I don't know who is. Because I believe we have a moral responsibility to the people of today and the children of tomorrow. So when I look at environmental laws, they're important. But there is one called Seeker that I spent 14 years on a town board down the road in Hamburg. And anybody who's ever been to planning board meetings knows it is tough to get projects through. It is hard. They throw up everything, and they should. You have to prove that you're not going to hurt the environment, that you have enough water and sewer and traffic is under control. You have to manage all that for growth. I get it. But why a local government, Cheektowaga or Niagara Falls or Amherst, they go through this whole process. The town board wants it. The planning board wants it. They want to build more housing in their neighborhoods, more affordable housing units, more single family. They want to do this. And then, before they can do that, they have to do another 2 years of review to ask the same questions that were already answered on the front end and costing more and more money. You know what happens? A lot of developers say, I'm just not doing it.
That's right.
I'm just not going there. So we looked at this, and if we could just suspend this additional law when it comes to building housing, and child care centers, and clean energy infrastructure, just those categories, we can unlock so much more housing being built. I say let them build. 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 Secondly, I'm all about clean energy. $88.7 billion. $88.7 billion. An unfathomable number. That is how much has been spent on clean energy projects in the state of New York since I've been governor, and I am proud of that. I am proud of that. And I want to do more. I'm on the path to do more, but let me tell you some of the headwinds. Let me tell you how the world has changed since our climate law, our nation-leading climate law, was passed in 2019. Now, I can't send this world back to 2019 because it was pre-pandemic. What happened during the pandemic? Supply chain stopped. The wind turbines that were supposed to power offshore wind were stuck in ports in Europe. The costs went up. Okay, pandemic. Everything shut down. Followed by inflation. The cost of all these projects went up. Then we have tariffs. Tariffs are crushing the businesses that build these projects because that's what they're saying now. I can't afford to do it. And layer on top of all that, Donald Trump, who has personally told me he hates offshore wind, he hates solar, he hates renewable, and he wants us to start fracking here in the state of New York. And I said no and hell no. We're not going there. We are not going there. But I had to fight so hard. There's an offshore wind project off of Long Island. It's going to power 500,000 homes in Brooklyn this fall. It's a 10-year project, and they shut that down, and I had to get that turned back on, and it was tough. So let me tell you the situation, my friends. They have stopped all federal incentives to support renewable energy. Where are we going next? How do I deal with this? I have goals to meet. I have goals I want to meet, but I just can't. And if we have to do it in an expedited way like a court is telling us, you know what's going to happen? Your already high utility bills will go one place, and that is higher. They'll go higher. And I cannot, in good conscience, knowing the moms and dads and the seniors and the families that are struggling, paying their bills now, I cannot do something I know at this very moment that's going to raise those prices. I cannot do it. And I will continue being the clean energy governor. This is important to me. We will make these transitions, but in a way that does not hurt our struggling families across the state of New York. We just can't do that right now. So So I just need a little more time. I'm not repealing. I'm just saying, give us a longer runway. And I think that's common sense. And that's what I need you to say to your legislators in Albany. Just give her more time and she will do it. I'll continue doing it, despite all these headwinds. So we talked about building more housing, focusing on seeker law reform, focusing on how we can change our climate law just to slow it down. But there's one other area, and I'm hearing this all over the state of New York. The cost of car insurance is out of control. Out of control. People are stunned. They're saying, I've got a good record. What happened here? Why are my rates going up so high? And I'll tell you, my friends, there are some factors. There are unscrupulous people out there staging accidents. I mean, literally trying to get a bus to smack into the rear end of them, cutting off someone else. They're literally creating accidents. And there's this whole scheme going on where they've got lawyers who are representing them. They've got doctors who are over-exaggerating the injuries. They're going to court and getting these jackpot payouts. And you know who pays for that? You do. We do. All of us do. And I've just got to say, wait a minute. Why does New York State, with I think very good drivers, have the highest car insurance rates in the nation? Right. On average, $4,000, and I've heard worse stories than that. And it's $1,500 more than the next states around us. Why? Why? Because we have liability laws that are unlike any others. And they're just letting people who monetize this, who make a lot of money off these cases that they're bringing to court. Right. And you know what? They're making money, and that money's coming out of your pockets. Right. I say that has to stop. Yep. And that's the next reform I want. So that's where I need you. That's where I need you. So are you with me to let more communities build more housing? Are you with me? Are you with me to keep the cost of your energy bills down? Are you with me? Are you with me to change our laws so our car insurance rates will start going down as well? Well, then let's get it done, my friend. Thank you.